Okay, there we go. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Sorry we're a bit late getting started, but it's a great pleasure to come together this evening for our South African Medical Research Council Merit Awards ceremony. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bhavesh Khanna. I'm at Wits University, and it's my pleasure this evening to serve as your program director. Just some housekeeping, guys. The toilets are that way in that white building. Keep your cell phones on silent, otherwise I will treat you like my third years. In my third year class, if a cell phone rings, the person has to get up and dance. So get your dancing shoes ready. Also, if we have to evacuate, please go out from this exit and congregate on the lawns, although we do have some other exits if you need to leave. Right, so with all of that, just one final item also, the waiters will be coming around and they'll be taking your starters and your dinner orders, so just be ready for that. And if you can stay in the same seats as we break in between so that they know where to find you. Okay, so this evening marks a significant moment in our collective journey in advancing healthcare. Tonight, we recognize and celebrate the exceptional achievements and contributions of individuals whose dedication to medical research has made an inedible mark on our society. As we gather here, we're reminded of the immense importance of medical research in shaping the future of healthcare, not just in South Africa, but globally. The pursuit of knowledge, the quest for understanding, and the relentless drive to improve human health are at the core of our mission as researchers, scientists, and healthcare professionals. And tonight, we pay tribute to those amongst us who have exemplified these principles through their outstanding work, groundbreaking discoveries, and tireless commitment to excellence. These Merit Awards serve as a testament to the extraordinary talent, ingenuity, and passion that abounds within our research community. Each of the recipients being honored tonight has demonstrated exceptional prowess in their fields. Their achievements not only advance the frontiers of scientific knowledge, but also have tangible, real-world impacts, transforming the way we prevent, diagnose, and manage diseases. Ultimately, their work improves lives. Their work creates meaning, and their work makes a better South Africa and a better world. And as we cast our gaze further, we see that we live in a world that is characterized by global conflicts, humanitarian crises, and increasingly polarized views on political and social matters. In this context, it's even more important that we recognize and celebrate our collective humanity here this evening. And so, with those few words of introduction, I would like to invite Professor Johnny Mshlangu, the chairperson of the SAMRC board, to deliver the official welcome. Johnny?
Thank you, Program Director Bhavesh Khanna, and a very, very warm welcome to all of you for joining us in this 10th anniversary of the Merit Awards of the Medical Research Council. It gives me an absolute pleasure to see so many of you here coming to celebrate science, celebrate innovation, celebrate excellence in many of the areas where we are working as researchers. And I would like to, first of all, on behalf of the board, ask every one of you here to please try and enjoy these moments. These moments are not things that happen every day. In fact, I was asked at one stage within the MRC board, can we not have more of these awards so that we can increase the frequency? And the answer was very simple, sorry, the budget doesn't allow us. But perhaps the main reason is in part to be able to allow our scientists to actually do produce the kind of work that we are recognizing today. I want to welcome you all, the well-deserving recipients today, your partners and everyone else that is supporting you, and a particular welcome perhaps to the board members here who have been behind making sure that these awards do happen on a regular basis, the executive committee members of the Medical Research Council for operationalizing this policy and ultimately this wish of the community to recognize all of you today. During the course of today, and I'm hoping that in fact we'll get to know you and certainly get to know what you do. Please do make sure that you speak to the person at the table next door, and also make sure that in fact when you leave here, at least you've got 2 or 3 other contacts. This is in the interest of science. We hope that this becomes a collaborative event in addition to a celebration for all of you. With that, I want to thank you and welcome you all to this 10th anniversary of the Merit Awards.
Thank you, Johnny. So, colleagues, we're going to start the evening with the Bronze Awards, but just some protocol directions. The way things are going to work this evening is we're going to call up the awardees. As you come up onto the stage, there are going to be 2 individuals giving out the awards. Please take your position in the middle to receive the awards and to take photos. And so to give out the Bronze Awards, I'd like to call Professor Eunice Suko, an SAMRC board member, and Dr. Michelle Mulder, the Executive Director of Grants, Innovation and Product Development and EMC member. Michelle and Eunice, if you can come up. Thank you very much. So our first Bronze awardee this evening is Associate Professor Nelita Duplessis. Nelita? Here we go. In between. I'm going to have to send a written protocol next time. Congratulations, Nelita. Our next awardee is Dr. Wasila Jasat. Wasila? There we go. There we go. Congratulations, Wasila. Next, we have Dr. Yoshan Mudley. Congratulations, Yoshan. Now we have Associate Professor Shahida Musa. Wonderful. Congratulations, Shahida. Next, we have Dr. Duduzile Ndwandwe. Woo! It gives me extreme pleasure to read this one out. Dudu was formerly my PhD student. Isn't that wonderful? Congratulations, Dudu. Next, we have Professor Olan Rewaju Oladimeji. Congratulations, Professor Oladimeji. Now we have Dr. Maxine Sandasi. There we go. Come, Maxine. Congratulations, Maxine. Thank you very much, Eunice. Michelle, we're done. Yeah. Isn't it wonderful how glamorous everyone looks? They come out from their white lab coats and the field work and one cleans up nicely, hey? Now we're going on to the Silver Awards. And to present these awards, I'd like to call Professor Bonginkosi Chilisa, Vice Chairperson of the SAMRC Board, and Professor Angela Mati, Executive Director of Transformation, to please come and give out these awards. There we go. Thank you. Okay, so our first silver awardee is Dr. Janelle Beeman. Janelle. Congratulations, Janelle. Next, we have Professor Wendy Burgess. Wendy. Woo! Congratulations, Wendy. Next, we have Associate Professor Nigel Garrett, and I've been told that Professor Kogiliam Naidu will collect the award for him. Nigel can't be with us this evening. Come, Kogi. Please pass on our best wishes to Nigel Kogi. Now we have Professor David Katarere. Yeah, I saw him. There we go. Congratulations, David. Next, we have Professor Robert Marsh. There we go. Congratulations, Robert. Now, Professor Nicola Mulder. Wonderful. Congratulations, Nikki. Now we have Professor Kogi Liam Naidu coming up to get her awards. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Congrats, Kogi. Now we have Associate Professor Yandisa Sikweyiya. Yeah, there's an earring there. So one of our glamorous ladies lost an earring. There we go. Okay. Congratulations, Yandisa. Our last awardee is Dr. Simbongile Walasa. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's give them all a hand. Our silver awardees. Okay, colleagues, we now move on to the special awards, and I'd like to call Glenda to the stage to give these out. Thank you, Glenda. Now, our first awardee for the special awards is Ms. Claudina Lutz.
This seems very somber, you know. Things are just moving fast so quickly. So, DG, Chair, members of the board, DVCs, deans, heads of research institutions, all protocol observed. We're very good at that in South Africa. But I want to acknowledge the President-elect in Tobacco. Tizi, please stand up.
She's done the 2 awards. And then we need to make a graphic going for the dinner. Because this was supposed to be started at 7:15, but you guys are ahead of schedule.
It's like to have starters and dinner together.
So
Then we'll have
next year,
starters and
Inspector
dinner
will be
together.
standing here in a dress.
Serve starters
giving
and
out
then
the
dinner
awards.
immediately.
So I'm going to come and I'll wear the suit. So I'm very happy to be here today, and we have some very special awards that we're going to give out today. But the first one goes to Claudina.
Can we do it?
And this is for acknowledging the critical role that you've played in the South African health innovation space. You've been a consistent advocate for collaborative research, and I'm so glad that Phil allowed Claudina to come work with us and help us develop the SHIP initiative, which was the initiative of the Department of Science and Innovation. So I want to thank you for this. Well, I actually thank the Department of Science and Innovation, Phil and you, for supporting the MRC and the Strategic Health Initiative. This was an amazing program that started in 2013 and really spearheaded innovation in the country and led to amazing things that happened in the HIV, TB, malaria, maternal health arena. So it was really great that you helped provide the support for this multidisciplinary projects. The SHIP program has been incredibly important for the MRC because it's enabled us to leverage other funding. So having this money from the Department of Science and Innovation has allowed us to sometimes double or treble the investment. And so we want to thank you for supporting this, as well as helping us develop a whole program of genomic surveillance and the manufacturing ecosystem, which is very important. And so this award is for your exceptional leadership, your exceptional dedication and commitment and willingness to work with us at the MRC. And so we really want to thank you for this. You are recognized as a champion, both in South Africa and globally, for your passion for health R&D. So, Claudina, thank you very much for everything you've done for the MRC. Welcome to the award.
I'm coming. I'm here. I had to run away. The mic was feeding back. Come in the middle. Yeah.
Yes, in the middle.
Yeah.
Put it where? They want this. That's easier, yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't want her to leave the box. No. She must come with. He's part of the thing. Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Our next special awardee is Mr. Nick Buick.
Okay, so you know you're a government entity when you give special awards to the ex-CFO. So us at the MRC, we love Public Finance Management Act. And we can recite it verse and chapter. I mean, Mongezi can actually recite it. Sometimes during the EMC, Mongezi and Nick would have a fight about how many sections of the PFMA Act they could cite. So we want to acknowledge the driving force that Nick had at the MRC as the CFO. He came from the post office, guys, arrived here at the MRC and set us straight to get consecutive clean audits. So most of you who are scientists kind of yawn about PFMA and the need to have clean audits and the Auditor General of South Africa. But it's because of our clean audit, because of PFMA, that enables us to bring in international funding. We're seen as a trusted custodian of government funding, both from South Africa, from Germany, from the UK, and from the United States. And so, never to be underestimated the importance of good governance and adherence to, I never thought I'd say this, the Public Finance Management Act. I've stopped being a scientist. Nick, thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. Don't. Thank you. Don't run away with my papers, Glenda, and we'll be here all evening. Thank you very much, Glenda. Folks, we're going to break now for your starters. Please enjoy. You'll see me in a little while. Okay, so to hand out the gold awards, I'd like to call Professor Ronel Carolison, SAMRC board member. Ronel, please come up. And Dr. Mongezi Mdluli, Chief Research Operations Officer. I saw Mongezi. There we go. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Right. So our first gold awardee is Professor Pascal Besson.
Professor Pascal Passang, trained as a virologist, holds the position of Professor in Microbiology and Global Health at the University of Venda. Additionally, he serves as the founding chair of the HIV/AIDS and Global Health Research Program at the same university, and holds the role of founding director of the SAMRC Univen Antimicrobial Resistance and Global Health Research Unit. He is a visiting scholar at the Center of the Global Health Equity, University of Virginia, in the United States of America, and an honorary professor at the School of Health Sciences, University of KwaZulu-Natal. His fields of research and area of expertise are in antimicrobial resistance, infection and child growth and development, and global health. He has received numerous awards, including the Ellison Medical Foundation Postdoctoral Award, an SAMRC Extramural Unit Award, and a 4-time awardee of Vice Chancellor's Award for Research Excellence. He is an elected member of the Academy of Science of South Africa and a B2 rated scientist of the National Research Foundation. He has successively trained 20 doctoral and 35 Master of Science students. He holds a BSc in Honours in Microbiology, an MSc in Medical Microbiology and Parasitology, and a PhD in Microbiology. Professor Passang is currently pursuing a Master of Science in Medicine degree in Bioethics and Health Law at the University of Witwatersrand. Professor Passang is the founding director of the SAMRC Univen Antimicrobial Resistance and Global Health Research Unit. He leads a team of national and international investigators seeking solutions to mitigate the acquisition and transmission of antimicrobial resistance in communities of low socioeconomic status.
Congratulations, Pascal. Actually, let's do this. Can we get the awardees when they come up? Stay up until your video is finished, so you can enjoy your moment in the light. Our next awardee is Professor Alan Christoffels.
Professor Alan Christoffels is a professor of bioinformatics at the University of the Western Cape and the director of the South African National Bioinformatics Institute based at the UWC campus. He also serves as the director at the SAMRC Bioinformatics Research Unit as director. His research fields and area of expertise are in bioinformatics of infectious diseases, developing methods for analyzing high throughput sequencing data such as tuberculosis drug-resistant tools. Professor Christoffels leads a global consortium of international universities and public health agencies to drive genomic epidemiology in the context of public health. His expertise in microbial genome analysis and pathogen data archiving has been instrumental in this regard. He has received numerous awards. These include the UWC Innovation Award for Social Impact received in 2019, the Fulbright Visiting Scholar Award to Boston, United States of America in 2016, the National Research Foundation Hamilton Nike Award in 2015, and the Hugo Africa Prize for Leadership in Genetics Research on the African continent. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he has been the advisor to the Africa CDC on pathogen genomics, where he has shaped the rollout of a continental pathogen genomics surveillance network. Currently, he is leading a continental data archive project on behalf of the Africa CDC. Professor Christoffels holds a B2 rated scientist rating and is a member of the Academy of Science of South Africa and the Royal Society of South Africa. Professor Christoffels' affiliation with the SAMRC goes back to 2010. He has participated in various national initiatives led by the SAMRC, such as the Southern African Human Genome Project, the rollout of a BGI sequencing platform, and research capacity development and training programs where he has graduated nearly 50 postgraduate students.
Congratulations, Alan. Our next awardee is Professor Cheryl Cohen, who unfortunately couldn't join us this evening, but Sibongile Walasa is going to collect the prize for her. Please come up, Sibongile.
Professor Cheryl Cohen is a medical doctor who specializes in clinical microbiology, epidemiology. She currently serves as the head of the Center for Respiratory Disease and Meningitis at the National Institute for Communicable Diseases in South Africa. Professor Cohen works closely with the National Department of Health to generate evidence that guides policy about the control and management of respiratory diseases. She led the establishment of a national surveillance program for severe acute respiratory infections in South Africa in 2009. She leads a research team in the field of respiratory diseases with the focus of the burden of disease, risk groups, and transmission, as well as assessments of the impact and effectiveness of interventions to reduce disease burden. During the COVID-19 epidemic in South Africa, Professor Cohen led the workstream for surveillance programs and public reporting. She is a member of several national and international advisory committees and working groups that are mainly related to influenza and other respiratory viruses. She is a member of the board of the International Society for Influenza and Other Respiratory Viruses, the chair of the African Network for Influenza Surveillance and Epidemiology, and a member of the Ministerial Advisory Committee for COVID-19 vaccines. She has been the coordinator for the Infectious Diseases Epidemiology module of the Masters in Epidemiology and Biostatistics at the University of the Witwatersrand since 2006, and coordinator of the Epidemiology module for the Masters in Vaccinology since 2019. She was the recipient of the South African Medical Research Council's Silver Medal for outstanding contributions to health research. In 2022, her profile featured in Lancet Infectious Diseases, promoting evidence-based health policy. And then in 2020, she received a personal profile feature in the Bulletin of the World Health Organization. She holds a Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery in Medicine from the University of the Witwatersrand, a Diploma in Tropical Medicine and Hygiene with distinction from the University of the Witwatersrand, a Master's in Epidemiology with distinction from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and a PhD in Epidemiology. Professor Cohen received funding for a number of research projects from the SAMRC. This was particularly important during COVID-19 when there were mechanisms for rapid funding.
Thank you, Sibongile. Please pass our congratulations on. Okay, our next awardee is Professor Nkoza Dlova, who also unfortunately can't be here, but Dr. Temba Mabaso will collect the award. Temba?
Professor Nkoza Dlova is the head of dermatology as well as the executive dean and head of the School of Clinical Medicine at the University of KwaZulu-Natal Medical School. She's the first South African woman to hold this position in the 75-year history of the UKZN Medical School. Since 2018, she remained the only female dean among the 10 deans in the South African Committee of the Medical Deans until 2022. In 2015, she founded and became the president of the South African Women's Dermatology Society. From 2019 to 2023, she was awarded Medal for Best Dean in the College of Health Sciences, acknowledging her outstanding leadership in the School of Clinical Medicine and for the major role that she has played in stabilizing and improving the morale of the staff and students. Her transformative vision left a mark, creating an environment that fosters growth, innovation, research productivity, collegiality, and a sense of belonging for all. Student protests were eliminated due to her excellent nurturing relationship with students. Despite all the administrative and leadership responsibilities, her research output was not dented. In 2023, she was awarded the B rating by the National Research Foundation. In her capacity as Chief Specialist and Head of Dermatology at the Nelson Mandela School of Medicine, University of KwaZulu-Natal, she has educated, trained, and mentored over 40 dermatologists, 80% of whom are African women. Professor Dlova's commitment to dermatology and her extraordinary achievements have made her a role model for dermatologists and young doctors across Africa and globally. In collaboration with Harvard University, Professor Dlova established the only dermatology surgery training program in South Africa. Professor Dlova has received numerous awards, including the Department of Health Excellence Award in 2020, Clinics Leadership and Research Excellence Award in 2021, South African Medical Association Excellence Award in 2024, and was awarded the prestigious membership to the American Dermatology Association, as well as gold medal by the International Society of Dermatology in recognition of her outstanding contribution to dermatology globally. She has been invited to give the Distinguished Dermatologist Plenary Lecture at the upcoming International Society of Dermatology Congress to be held in Rome in 2025.
Thank you, Temba. Please pass our congratulations on. Our next awardee is Professor Penny Moore.
Professor Penny Moore is the Director of Antibody Immunity Research Unit at the South African Medical Research Council, a research professor at the University of Witwatersrand and the National Institute for Communicable Diseases, and the academic head of the divisions of Immunology and Virology at the University of the Witwatersrand. Professor Penny Moore leads a multidisciplinary team of more than 15 scientists and 10 postgraduate students who work largely in the fields of HIV and COVID-19 vaccine discovery, combining virology, immunology, protein biochemistry, and bioinformatics. Professor Moore has worked in the HIV vaccine field for more than 20 years and has made seminal contributions to understanding how broadly neutralizing antibodies develop in HIV infection. Understanding the pathway to neutralizing breath has provided a template for HIV vaccine design strategies, many of which are now being tested in human clinical trials. More recently, with the emergence of COVID-19, Moore's team adapted their skills and platforms to conduct research on SARS-CoV-2. Professor Moore was globally recognized as a leader in defining and characterizing variants of concern, and the lab published several high-impact papers defining the humoral response to SARS-CoV-2 infection and vaccination. More recently, the team has expanded their scope further to work on influenza, cytomegalovirus, respiratory syncytial virus, adenoviruses, and Ebola. In the past 20 years, Professor Moore has contributed towards more than 165 papers, focusing predominantly on antibodies and their interplay with evolving viruses, a result of extensive collaborations within South Africa and internationally. She has an H factor of 44. Moore has a very strong focus on mentorship and capacity development. She supervises several postgraduate students and postdoctoral fellows within her lab and across several other institutes, and contributes to teaching at her university and others. She serves on the advisory committees of national and African capacity development and training initiatives. Moore also serves on the scientific advisory boards of several international virology institutes and research consortia in Europe, America, and Australia. In 2020, Moore received the National Research Foundation B1 rating, following a B3 rating in 2014. In 2018, she was awarded the South African Medical Research Council Silver Medal. Professor Moore holds a PhD in virology from the Royal Free and University College Medical School, London, United Kingdom. Moore serves as Director of the Antibody Immunity Research Unit, an extramural unit of the SAMRC. Penny first received direct funding from the SAMRC in 2014 through a SHIP grant. She has subsequently received extensive funding for HIV and SARS-CoV-2 research, as have senior members of her team. This sustained SAMRC funding, along with extensive international funding, has supported capacity development within the ARRU team.
They have to get it right, Penny. Congratulations, Penny. Our next awardee is Professor Anthony Oko. Do we have his video? There we go. You're not having an identity crisis. Just bear with us.
Professor Anthony Oko is a professor of microbiology and the director of the South African Medical Research Council's Microbial Water Quality Monitoring Center at the University of Fort Hare. He is also the leader of the Water Research for Sustainable Development niche area at the University of Fort Hare. Professor Oko holds a BSc Honours in Microbiology, second class upper, MSc Microbiology, distinction, and PhD Microbiology. His research expertise falls within the aegis of environmental or public health microbiology, with emphasis on water or wastewater quality and genomics, emerging and re-emerging pathogens and chemical pollutants in the environment, human and ecological health risk assessments, reservoirs of antibiotic resistance, and bioactive compounds of health and biotechnological importance. In 2008, Professor Oko received the University of Fort Hare Vice Chancellor Emerging Researcher Award, which was followed by the Vice Chancellor's Senior Researcher Award in 2011. Professor Oko has published over 500 journal articles, supervised to completion 57 PhD and 70 MSc students, and delivered many plenaries, keynote addresses, and distinguished guest lecturers. In 2009, Professor Oko represented South Africa in the international collaboration on the surveillance of reservoirs of antibiotic resistance under the auspices of the Alliance for the Prudent Use of Antibiotics, with headquarters in Boston, United States of America. He was also a member of the South Africa delegation to Oman on the Oman-South Africa Bilateral Cooperation Workshop on Water and Agri-Biotechnology in 2016. Also, in recognition of his immense contribution in environmental vibriology research, Professor Oko was appointed in 2023 to serve as a member of the Cholera Advisory Panel for the Water Research Commission of South Africa. Professor Oko also served as president of the South African Society for Microbiology from 2011 to 2013. Currently, he is a member of the Academy of Science of South Africa, fellow of the Water Institutes of Southern Africa, fellow of the African Academy of Sciences, fellow of the Royal Society of Biology, fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Sciences, and fellow of the World Academy of Sciences, amongst others. His current age index is 76, with over 24,000 citations. He is the chairperson of the Membership Selection Committee, Bioscience Sector, of the African Academy of Sciences. Professor Oko has won several national and international research grants, including the SAMRC, but he notes that the greatest impact to his research has been the SAMRC Microbial Water Quality Monitoring Center, which took effect on the 1st of April 2015. This EMU has been the most productive research entity in the University of Fort Hare since its inception, and it has been a major hub for skills and capacity development, especially amongst the previously disadvantaged demographic groups in the country. And for this, he remains very grateful to the SAMRC.
Congratulations, Anthony. Our next awardee is Professor Wendy Stevens, who unfortunately could not be here this evening, so we're going to do this. We're going to call on Professor Bhavesh Khanna to receive the award on her behalf.
Professor Wendy Stevens is a specialist pathologist who has contributed significantly to the diagnosis and monitoring of HIV and TB, including capacity development in this area. Her research priorities are largely in hematological malignancies, HIV, and TB for over 25 years. Professor Stevens has been responsible for the rollout of affordable CD4, viral load, EID, and HIV drug resistance programs in South Africa and its 60 centers in sub-Saharan Africa. This portfolio includes the national molecular TB testing to 207 sites. These programs have been extended to vulnerable populations such as the correctional services and peri-mining communities. Her success is due to the development of a strong research, operations, and translational laboratory medicine and multidisciplinary implementation team to support national disease priorities. This has included many innovations to address weaknesses in the pathology value chain to strive towards sustainable laboratory capacity in Africa. In early 2020, she catapulted her team's focus towards COVID-19 activities and leveraged off their years' experience in laboratory medicine to respond to necessary diagnostics for COVID-19. In October 2022, Professor Stevens, as the Executive Director, founded the WITS Diagnostic Innovation Hub at the University of the Witwatersrand. WITS DIH is managed as a syndicate under WITS Health Consortium. The primary objective of WITS DIH is to continue providing affordable and accessible innovative diagnostics to those who need it the most, expanding the diagnostic portfolio to include non-communicable diseases and molecular oncology. Her research efforts since qualification have focused largely on the HIV research arena over a period of 27 years. This can be supported by numerous peer-reviewed publications and conference presentations, with research activities that have included the expansion of early infant diagnosis of HIV, affordable HIV viral load, CD4, and investigation of HIV drug resistance. In 2006, Professor Stevens received an award from the National Department of Science and Technology for a contribution to the development of laboratory capacity in Southern Africa. She has been an advisor to and an investigator for the following HIV research networks: the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative, New York; the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, NIH-funded, Seattle; the AIDS Clinical Trials Group, NIH-funded; the Microbiocide Development Program, UK-based funding; and the ACTG Pharmacology Scientific Committee, amongst others. In addition, Professor Stevens has had investigator status for several international grant-funded projects, including the CyPro project in collaboration with Professor McIntyre and team at the University of the Witwatersrand. Other funders of her research have more recently included the Netherlands AIDS Fund, Gates Foundation, Grand Challenges Canada Global Fund, PEPFAR, CDC, USAID, and the MRC. She has served as a consultant for the World Health Organization, Geneva, CDC Atlanta, and NIH Bethesda, USA, on several different working groups. She has also served on review committees for UNITAID, WHO, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Grand Challenges. Since November 2010, she took the role and has been appointed Head of National Priority Programs at the National Health Laboratory Service, focusing on laboratory efforts related to priority diseases that currently are HIV, TB, and cervical cancer. Professor Stevens' current portfolio includes options for implementation at scale through the National Priority Program and optimizing the clinical laboratory chain through innovations for Africa by means of the African Innovation Network. During the more recent COVID-19 outbreak, her team was responsible for national assay validation, molecular, serology, and antigen antibody-based testing. As the Executive Director and founder of the newly established WITS Diagnostic Innovation Hub at the University of the Witwatersrand, she, together with her team, aim to accelerate Africa's access to affordable, innovative diagnostic technologies by providing a platform for innovators and suppliers to evaluate and validate these technologies, as well as provide guidance to regulatory and implementation frameworks within a real-world setting.
Wonderful work by Wendy, I'll certainly pass on congratulations. Our next awardee is Professor Mark Tomlinson.
Professor Mark Tomlinson is the co-director of the Institute for Life Course Health Research in the Department of Global Health, Stellenbosch University. He is also a professor of maternal and child health at the School of Nursing and Midwifery in Queen's University in Belfast, United Kingdom. Prior to qualifying as a clinical psychologist from the University of Cape Town, he worked in the field of child and youth care for 10 years. He holds a PhD in psychology from the University of Reading in the United Kingdom. He has been involved in research for the last 22 years. Professor Tomlinson possesses extensive research expertise encompassing child and adolescent development, early community-based health interventions, longitudinal intervention trials, and child, adolescent research priority setting and maternal mental health. He has led key cohort research studies tracking the longitudinal impact of early interventions in South Africa, aimed at improving maternal and child health and child development. Specifically, he has led 2 longitudinal research cohorts of 13 and 19 years respectively, as well as a cohort study across 10 years in 3 African countries. To date, he has been a principal investigator or co-investigator on grants totaling over 800 million rands. Professor Tomlinson has to date published 371 papers in peer-reviewed publications such as Lancet, PLOS Medicine, JAMA, Nature Medicine, Social Science and Medicine, Lancet Global Health and the Bulletin of the World Health Organization. Additionally, he has published 23 book chapters and edited 4 books. Professor Tomlinson has a Google Scholar H index of 78 and has over 23,000 citations. He is a sought-after invited or plenary speaker relating to global health, child and adolescent development and research priority setting. In the course of 2023 alone, for example, he was a plenary speaker at 7 local and international conferences. Professor Tomlinson has contributed to several seminal global publications, notably the World Health Organization document, The Nurturing Care Framework, a framework for helping children survive and thrive to transform health and human potential in 2018. He was one of the coordinating writers of the framework, which has subsequently been adopted by many countries. Professor Tomlinson was elected as member of the Academy of Science of South Africa in 2017. He received the Chancellor Award from Stellenbosch University in 2015, which recognizes leading academics at the institution for their sustained contributions to excellence in research. This is the highest research award at Stellenbosch University and can only be awarded once. He has also received the Stellenbosch University Rector's Award for Research Excellence in 10 occasions. While currently based at Stellenbosch University, Professor Tomlinson has had a long record of collaboration with the SAMRC. In addition, from 2006 to 2008, he was a senior scientist in the Health Systems Research Unit at the SAMRC.
Wonderful, Mark. Our next awardee is Professor Stephen Tolman.
Professor Steve Tolman is a research professor and the head of the Division of Health and Population, School of Public Health at the University of the Witwatersrand. He also serves as the director for SAMRC, WIT's Rural Public Health and Health Transitions Research Unit, Agincourt. Professor Tolman is devoted to bringing the best science to bear on the persisting, at times intractable, challenges facing rural health and development in South and Sub-Saharan Africa. Neglect of rural health and well-being through the apartheid years and imperatives arising in the democratic era pose compelling questions on drivers of health and well-being, their determinants and interventions that can be taken to scale. Responding means confronting a profound data or evidence gap and led to his pioneering longitudinal population-based research platforms. These can generate data or findings attuned to critical health and development challenges, support varied study designs and disciplines, and foster engagement of local communities and public or private sector leadership, health, social services, education, and innovation. In 1992, Steve introduced the GenQuartz longitudinal health and socio-demographic surveillance system, today covering a whole population cohort of about 120,000 people in 22,000 households and 31 villages in northeast South Africa, adjacent to the Kruger National Park near southern Mozambique. He played lead roles in establishing South Africa and African research networks that harness the strengths of longitudinal research platforms, for example, the South African Population Research Infrastructure Network, SAPRIN, and InDep Network. These all generate vital insight into health and population transitions covering dramatic socio-political change, the HIV/AIDS epidemic and rise in cardiometabolic conditions, coupled with mental ill health and COVID-19, which together render multimorbidity a pervasive challenge. He has received numerous awards. To name a few, in 2023, he received the Alumni Award of Merit from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. In 2018, the National Science and Technology Foundation South 32 Award. In 2013, the InDep Prize for Extraordinary Research in Population and Health, Team Award for Article, and in 2010, the Vice Chancellor's Award for Academic Citizenship from the University of the Witwatersrand. Professor Tolman holds a PhD in Epidemiology and Global Health from Umeå University of Sweden. In describing his relationship with the SAMRC, Professor Tolman has expressed that the SAMRC is an outstanding institution central to South Africa's research and health development capability. At both personal and unit level, we enjoy a rewarding and mutually enriching relationship that adds exceptional value to the efforts and aspirations of our SAMRC WITS Research Unit.
Wonderful, Steve. Congratulations. Ronel Wongesi, thank you very much. You may return to your seats. Colleagues, dinner will be served and I will see you in a little while. Enjoy. Okay, so colleagues, we've come to that time of the evening where we're going to have our Platinum Awards. Right, so for these, I can keep it over here. I'd like to call on Professor Glenda Gray and Professor Johnny Mishlangu to hand out the Platinum Awards. Glenda, Johnny? Right. And so our first Platinum Awardee is Professor Frank Brombacher.
Professor Frank Brombacher is a professor at the University of Cape Town and the scientific coordinator and group leader for immunology and infectious diseases. His field of research and area of expertise are in immunology of infectious diseases in Africa, tuberculosis, schistosomiasis, and leishmaniasis. Professor Brombacher's recent awards include Host Directing Drug Therapy, Preclinical and Clinical, Global Health Innovative Technology Fund in Japan, and Host Directing Drug Targeting Against Tuberculosis. He holds a PhD, Rerum Naturalum in Immunology, that was supervised by Nobel laureate Professor Dr. G. Kohler at the Max Planck Institute for Immunology, Freiburg, Germany. His PhD thesis was titled Transgenic Mice with Anti-Thymocyte-Specific Immunoglobulin Genes. Between 1980 and 1986, he completed a diploma in molecular biology, supervised by Professor B. Rock, University in Freiburg, Germany. Professor Brombacher's affiliation with the SAMRC entails serving as the Director of the Immunology of Infectious Diseases Research Unit.
Speech, there's speech.
1 minute.
I hate speech. No, it's great. It's fantastic. It's fantastic to be here again. And do I speak? Do I speak English?
1
No?
minute.
Did I spoke? And it's fantastic here. So I think it is much more I cannot do here. I think then somewhere I have also somewhere I have to left the lab. So that's for me what I want to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Frank. I remember meeting Frank as a young PhD student. I was awestruck by his work. Our next Platinum awardee is Professor Rachel Jukes. Rachel?
Professor Rachel Jukes is the Executive Scientist in the Office of the President at the South African Medical Research Council, and her base research work is within the Gender and Health Research Unit. Professor Jukes is a medical doctor and a social epidemiologist who has led the South African Medical Research Council's Gender-Based Violence Research Program for 30 years. Her research focuses on describing the epidemiology and social and cultural context of gender-based violence, including the male perpetration of rape, particularly its magnitude, drivers, and risk factors. A notable contribution made through her research was developing and demonstrating that male rape perpetration could be studied among men in the general population, thus providing a window on sexual violence acts that are not reported to authorities. Professor Jukes led this work in South Africa and multi-country research in the Asia and the Pacific region. Her research has described many aspects of the impacts of gender-based violence on women's health and notably elucidated the elevated risk of HIV acquisition among young women experiencing IPV and controlling behavior, as well as post-rape. A major contribution has been in the area of gender-based violence prevention. The SAMRC's Stepping Stone study was the first evaluation of an intervention to show a reduction in male perpetration of IPV. From 2013 to 2020, Professor Jukes was the Consortium Director of the UK aid-funded What Works to Prevent Violence global program, leading research in the prevention of violence against women and girls in 13 countries of Africa and Asia. This work demonstrated that violence against women is preventable, and that when implemented according to established standards, a range of interventions are effective in preventing gender-based violence, even in very complex settings. Her research has also focused on rape and femicide in South Africa, and with research to bolster the national response and provision of care to rape survivors, including developing the National Healthcare Providers Training Curriculum. She has pioneered work to use epidemiological methods to study the effectiveness of the criminal justice response in South Africa, including national femicide surveillance through repeated surveys. Her current focus is to deepen understanding of risk factors for femicide and the myriad of impacts of IPV on women and their families, including the impacts of help seeking. She is the founding member of the Sexual Violence Research Initiative, which is a networking and information sharing hub in the global gender-based violence field. She served as a secretary for 17 years. She has been A-rated by the NRF over 3 rating cycles since 2011. NRF rating 2011 A2, NRF rating 2016 A1, NRF rating 2023 A1. In 2022, she received the Sexual Violence Research Initiative Trailblazers Award. In 2014, SAMRC Gold Medal. In 2008, the Polgar Prize, Professional Prize for the Best Paper Published in Medical Anthropology Quarterly. In 2000, Millennium Health Award from the Rockefeller Foundation. Professor Jukes trained as a doctor at St. Thomas's Hospital in London, obtaining an MSc in Community Health in 1991 with distinction. She also completed a master's degree in Community Health with distinction in 1991 at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Completed a Doctor of Medicine degree in 1994, studying through the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Professor Jukes joined the SAMRC in January 1995. She was appointed to head up a women's health research focus. Over the years, collaboratively she has built the women's health focus into the Gender and Health Research Unit, a unit she served as director of for 17 years. In 2013, Professor Jukes was invited by Professor Slim Abdul Karim to serve as an acting vice president in his revitalization of the SAMRC Executive Management Committee and continued in that role until September 2014. She rejoined the executive in 2017 and served until January 2022 as executive scientist for research strategy and intramural units.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. Now, I was told I had the opportunity to give a speech. Unlike Frank, I can't resist these opportunities. So since you're all eating and you've all got something to drink, I know I have got time to say a few words. And I want to thank the MRC and particularly Glenda so much for this award, which I'm very, very proud. I'm very proud to have been able to dedicate most of my working life to research on gender-based violence and its impact on women and girls' health and lives. This work has contributed in important ways to advancing the position of women in South Africa and around the globe. I'm often asked how the work started, and for this I'm eternally grateful to the young pregnant women of Cape Town in 1995 who took us into their confidence and told us about the rapes and violence they'd suffered when we asked them about how they got pregnant. They completely upended the conventional wisdom about teenage pregnancy at the time and opened a window on women's lives that we have ensured has never since been closed. In those days, gender-based violence was not recognised as a health problem. Its prevalence wasn't understood. We didn't have the tools to measure it and investigate it. We didn't know its impact on women's health, and we didn't know whether, let alone how, it could be prevented. In the first 10 to 15 years, the SAMRC leadership overall didn't really understand our work, but I'm very glad they gave us the space to conduct it, and the support staff were always there, and nothing we achieved could have been done without them. The tables turned completely when Slim came in with the revitalisation, following my first A rating, and I'm hugely grateful to the support from the SAMRC under Slim and under Glenda for all the work of the Gender and Health Research Unit. And so I thank both of you for your role in enabling us to achieve what we have been able to do. Once we recognised the enormous problem of gender-based violence, my colleague Naima Abrams and I dedicated our work over the last 30 years to systematically filling the knowledge gaps on GBV in South Africa. And in so doing, we have built the largest GBV research unit in the Southern Hemisphere. Several colleagues are in the room tonight. Yandisa Sikwaya, congratulations on your award earlier on. Nwabisa Shai, Pinky Mklangu, Mercy Machisa. I want to thank all of you and all my other colleagues who are not able to be here for your incredible roles in the work that Gender and Health has been able to achieve over the decades. We've worked together with colleagues across the globe, notably through the Sexual Violence Research Initiative and the What Works to End Violence Against Women and Girls Consortium. but also through the UN multi-country study on men and violence in Asia and the Pacific, which took Yandisa and Nwabisa off to the investigators in Papua New Guinea, a study where I was the PI, and through the WHO multi-country study on violence against women, which provided the numbers to put gender-based violence on the map globally. We've worked strategically to maximise our impact at a global level, and this has involved building and uniting the field around a common purpose and targeting policy arenas from local to global. One measure of our considerable success has been the recognition of how the role of GBV in the HIV pandemic, which is now completely accepted as a driver, and another has been the adoption of GBV as a sustainable development goal. Gender-based violence is now out of the shadows and accepted as a leading global health and social problem. Of course, none of my work could have been possible without our incredible team at the SAMRC and all of the support we've had from the institution, and the unwavering support from my family, Sanka and Kitty Borney in particular, and in recent years my partner David, who's here with me tonight, and our granddaughter Dee. You've kept me sane through this work throughout the years. You've tolerated my huge amount of travel. You've always made sure the dogs and rats were fed while I was away. And you've been there to share food and laughter in the evenings when I came home. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Rachel. Our final Platinum awardee is Professor Estelle Lambert.
Professor Estelle Victoria Lambert is an emeritus professor and senior research scholar, part of the Research Center for Health of Physical Activity, Lifestyle and Sport, and Division of Physiological Sciences in the Department of Human Biology at the Faculty of Health Sciences in the University of Cape Town. She is also an adjunct professor at the School of Health and Medical Sciences in the Faculty of Health, Engineering and Sciences at the University of Southern Queensland in Australia. Professor Lambert is the former director of the UCT accredited Research Center for Health for Physical Activity, Lifestyle and Sports, which she led from its inception in 2018 until 2023. She is a National Research Foundation B1 rated scientist. Her research concerning physical inactivity and obesity includes work on the prevalence, burden of disease, correlates, determinant and ecological factors associated with these risk factors across the life course, from the intrauterine environment to adolescents to older adults, and most recently involving community, socio-environmental and behavior change interventions. The focus of her research has been primarily in low and middle income countries, and more recently on the nexus between physical activity insecurity, food insecurity, the environmental and social determinants in health equity. She has been internationally recognized for her contributions in the fields of physical activity, obesity, and non-communicable diseases in low middle income countries, resulting in her inclusion as an expert consultant to the World Health Organization on a variety of topics including physical activity and health since 1998. In 2016, she served on a team tasked with developing the Global Action Plan for Physical Activity, specifically incorporating the physical activity agenda into the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In 2019, she was selected to be on the World Health Organization Guidelines Development Group to formulate the 2020 Global Recommendations for Physical Activity and Sedentary Behavior. Also in 2019, she was invited to be an expert consultant for the Global Regulatory and Fiscal Capacity Building Program promoting healthy diet and physical activity. She was co-founder and chair of the African Physical Activity Network from 2007 until 2013, and has been the lead or co-lead of the Healthy Active Kids South Africa Report Card Evidence-Based Advocacy Initiative since 2007. She has been in-country co-principal investigator on the NIH-funded Modeling the Epidemiological Transition Study, a 5-country longitudinal cohort documenting relationships between physical activity and obesity in persons of the African diaspora. She is also an in-country co-PI on the NIHR-funded Global Diet and Activity Research Network, in collaboration with the SAMRC Epidemiology Unit at Cambridge University and colleagues from Kenya, Cameroon, Jamaica, Nigeria, and Brazil. During her career, she has supervised or co-supervised 20 PhD students and 11 MSc and/or MPhil students, and is currently co-supervising 3 PhD and 1 MSc students. She is an author or co-author on over 360 peer-reviewed publications with an H index of 70. Emeritus Professor Lambert was an integral part of the SAMRC unit for bioenergetics of exercise research unit under Professor Tim Noakes. This unit then evolved into the SAMRC Research Unit for Exercise Science and Sports Medicine, also under Professor Noakes, which together ran for 25 years, from 1989 to 2014. Furthermore, she worked with the MRC Chronic Diseases of Lifestyle Unit to ensure that physical activity became part of South African adult NCD surveillance in the first SADHS in 2003. During COVID-19, Lambert spearheaded an initiative along with 40 colleagues from 9 African countries, including those from the SAMRC, and together they developed 4 policy briefs for promoting and implementing physical activity in the public sector, for children, for persons living with disability, and in school sports during COVID and beyond. More recently, Professor Lambert has been a collaborator on a project called Food SAMRC, a 3-year project that aims to address malnutrition in all its forms, including undernutrition, micronutrient deficiencies, unhealthy diets, and obesity, by assessing its determinants and by exploring interventions at the macro, policy, the meso, community, and the micro, interpersonal level. This project is in conjunction with the SAMRC, UWC School of Public Health, UCT Chronic Disease Initiative in Africa, and the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich, Germany. Emeritus Professor Lambert continues to be a champion for physical activity and health, environmental and social justice, using citizen science as a tool for both gathering evidence and promoting advocacy.
Thank you very much. I was told I was given a short time to say a few words, and I'm grateful to Rachel for setting the scene. I'm not used to receiving awards, and I feel very humbled by this evening's activities. And I'd first like to thank Professor Johnny Mashanglu and Chairperson of the MRC Board, and Professor Glenda Gray, President and CEO of the South African Medical Research Council, for this honor and recognition. And I'd also like to thank my colleague, friend, and nominator, Professor Malcolm Colleagues, who's the Deputy Director of the UCT Center for Research Center for Health Through Physical Activity, Lifestyle, and Sport. On my academic and research journey, I was privileged to be mentored before I came to this country by Professors Diane Ward, who is no longer with us, Russell Pate, and Stephen Blair, also passed from the University of South Carolina. From South Africa, Professor Tim Noakes, Crystal Lestein, Naomi Levitt, and Tandi Puani. And colleagues, Professor Willem van Mechelen, Adrian Baumann, Fiona Bull, Jim Salas, Abby King, and Amy Luke, spanning from Europe to California to Australia, amongst others. And I've also been blessed with a legacy of former PhD students, some of them who are in this room tonight, who themselves have become leaders in their fields, such as Professor Julia Goodicke, Lisa Mickelsfields, and Dilem Kiza, Laura Dugas, and Tracy Colby-Alexander, amongst others. And I'm especially grateful to my colleagues working in the UCT Research Center for Health Through Physical Activity, Lifestyle, and Sport. I've been fortunate to be a member of a number of global networks, including, as mentioned, the Modeling the Epidemiological Transition, the Active Healthy Kids Global Alliance, the Global Diet and Activity Research Network, and importantly, the Our Voice Global Network for Citizen Science and Health Equity, and the network which we began ourselves, the African Physical Activity Network, in 1995. I've also been privileged to represent South Africa in the Global South in advocacy and policy development with the World Health Organization and the USA Centers for Disease Control. And I'm grateful to the funding agencies that have supported our work, the MRC, the NRF, the National Institute of Health, the National Institute of Health Research in the UK, and the International Development Research Centre in Canada. I'm grateful for the opportunity to respond to this award, and in so doing, to highlight the issues for which I am passionate. I would like to note that, to my knowledge, this is the first SAMRC Merit Award in a field primarily characterized by a focus on physical activity and population health. The importance of physical activity as a major health risk factor cannot be overemphasized. At this time, I wish to recognize and make you aware of the cadre of scientists and researchers of South Africa, of Africa, and other LMICs, many of whom now are working remotely in the global north, whose work on physical activity and health, equity, and the upstream determinants could and does in some cases inform policy and practice. It is often said, and we're often told, that there is a lack of capacity in this area of research in our region. However, one might argue that rather than capacity, there is a lack of prioritization and access to adequate funding. As the most physically active continent on the planet, we run the risk of losing this status with increasing urbanization and development. For example, in our country, less than half of the adults are sufficiently active, and more than 2/3 of women are overweight or obese. We have an urgency to make physical activity a priority, both within and beyond the health sector. I'm encouraged that in receiving this award, there is recognition for this work and the collaborative and growing network of Global South researchers whose passion and commitment I am privileged to share. I'm especially thankful to my adopted country, South Africa, for allowing me to continue to champion physical activity and health, and to the University of Cape Town for providing an academic and research home. And finally, and most importantly, I would like to thank my family, in particular my husband, Emeritus Professor Mike Lambert, who provided the support, encouragement, and freedom to pursue my academic and research career. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Estelle. Johnny, you can go back to your seat. You're released. Yeah, don't leave yet. Okay, colleagues, we've come to that time of the evening where we confer the SAMRC Presidential Award. And it gives me great pleasure to call Dr. Phil Mjwaha, who will be receiving the SAMRC Presidential Award, to the stage.
So Phil, I'm incredibly honored to present the Presidential Award to you. This is my last Presidential Award that I will give as I end my 10 years at the helm of the MRC. And as you step down as the DG of the Department of Science and Innovation, I cannot think of anyone in the landscape of science and innovation that better represents the values of this award. Previous recipients include visionary leaders and scientists like Melekapura Makgoba, Jerry Kavadia, and Zena Stein. So Phil, you join a prestigious alumni. Board members, CEOs, DVCs, past presidents and future presidents, colleagues, awardees, scientists, family, my family are here for the first time, and friends. Dr. Phil Mjwaha is the Director General of the Department of Science and Innovation, and is the longest-serving director in South Africa. He's been in this role since April 2006. There's something special about starting a job in April. I did that as well. I started it on the 1st of April. Maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing, but 1st of April, April Fools, but we stay in our jobs very long. But first and foremost, he is an exceptional scientist and visionary leader, and a wonderful and loyal friend to the South African Medical Research Council. There are three aspects to his legacy that must not be forgotten. In the late 90s, he led South Africa's first national science and technology foresight exercise, which laid the foundation for the national system of innovation as we know it now. He's an extraordinary science diplomat for South Africa and is highly regarded in various global forums, not at least as a senior member of the UNESCO International Basic Sciences Program, or the SKA Observatory Council. He has left his legacy, the New Decadal Plan, which I love, that New Decadal Plan, with STI elevated to the presidential level, with the first presidential plenary held last year. This decadal plan is about science for science and science for revitalization. And Phil, in this decadal plan, places health science as a very important part. And during the evening, DG, you probably saw this interplay, as you say in your decadal plan, the need for multidisciplinary human science, social behavioral interventions, as well as precision medicine and highly technological advances, and the interplay in health sciences, how important it is, as we've heard from Rachel, and about gender-based violence and exercise, but at the same time to forge ahead and develop precision medicine, cures for cancer, and HIV vaccines. And this plan that he articulates so well, which I've read a lot of times, I must say, highlights the importance of health research. Very important. Health research is imperative to the STI environment in South Africa. Phil has set the vision for all the policy development in the science and technology sector in Africa. He saw the need to create sustainable programs, infrastructure, and human capacity to ensure that South Africa achieves excellence in critical areas of science and technology. He understood that the programs had to be designed to increase the South African stock of young scientists, particularly those from disadvantaged institutions, and to ensure the long-term sustainability of our national scientific ecosystem. Phil has numerous achievements, but I think I need to say he co-chairs the economic sectors, the employment and infrastructure development cluster, and coordinates the 9-point plan to reignite the economy of South Africa. Phil understands that science and GDP, the only way to increase GDP is to invest in science, and he has been a consummate champion for the role of science in reigniting the economy of our country. As the chair of the Global Group on Earth Observation, or GEO, he is responsible for leading the African countries that participate in GEO. And notably, he led the technical team that submitted the SKA bid and the reason why we host the SKA in our country. So science for science. Our dear DG holds a BSc, an MSc, and a PhD from our university, Johnny, the University of the Witwatersrand, I need to say. His academic career includes serving as a professor of science and technology policy at the University of Pretoria and physics lectureship. Yeah, my son, you have a job in the future as a physics major. And at the University at Witwatersrand, South Africa, and Fort Hare. He has published numerous papers on physics, technology analysis, and technology foresight processes. On the 7th of March, 2020, as SARS-CoV-2 started to loom as a threat to our country, I was boarding a plane from Durban to Cape Town. The DG phoned me and asked me what the MRC strategy was to combat the pandemic. I told him when I land in Cape Town in 2 hours, he would have my framework and I would validate that with scientists like Penny Moore, Lynn Morris, and Shibi Mahdi. This framework was developed before we went into lockdown and guided the MRC's funding strategy for research during COVID-19. His intervention was the reason why our science made global impact, from genomic surveillance to natural history studies of healthcare workers at UCT with Intobacco, to COVID-19 vaccine trials and the development of diagnostics that we've given awards to. Phil, you understand that science is a field that continues to be one of the greatest collective endeavors in human history. You have been inspirational to science in our country and have ensured that we think big, operate globally, but keep our eyes on what will be impactful to our country and our continent. So I thank you.
You should get the award.
Thanks very much, Glenda. First of all, it's interesting on a lighter note that you get this award after a couple of glasses of wine. So I hope I will still be coherent at this part of the night. But the first point is I'm trained in physics. So to be exact, if you ask me about something called Schrödinger equation, and Einstein's E equals mc squared, and Max Planck's constant, I'll be able to tell you exactly what I'm talking about. So to be in the company of people who talk about antibodies that Slim has told me, antimicrobial resistance, precision medicine, I really feel humbled to be honored by this community on the work that we've done in the Department of Science and Innovation. So that's the first point I'd like to make. The second point that I'd like to make is to say a couple of thank yous. But before I do that, let me, perhaps for those who don't know what Directors General do, let me explain a little bit. Our job is to sign things and approve things. So what Glenda has told you is not really what we do. We really just sign things. But in signing these things, in my own experience, I find that I've been lobbied by a number of scientists in the scientific community. Say we want to do this. So one of the things that we've tried to do is to listen carefully to what the scientific community is asking. You've already heard about the phone call that I made to Glenda on the eve of COVID, or as soon as COVID started. So what I'm trying to say is that listening, therefore, to yourself as the scientific community has helped us to take proposals that you've brought to our attention to the ministers and to the whole of government. So whilst I take the accolade, but I think the accolade should go to you, because it is your proposals and your ideas that you've brought to me. So rather than thanking me, maybe a round of applause to yourself as a scientific community, because it's been easy to take the work forward and convince the rest of those who make the signatures that are important with lots of zeros to the scientific community. And then I'd also like to say that the work that I do involves a large number of people within the Department of Science and Innovation. And in fact, today, Claudina is one of the team that is worked in the health innovation, is part of that team. So the award, yes, I will take the award, Glenda, but the award goes to, I think, a very competent group of people in the department. And we've been very, very lucky, even though people have come and gone, to have people really who interface with the scientific community, and we've been very, very lucky to appoint competent people in the department. So the award goes to them as well. And then I'd also like to acknowledge the fact that as a DG, you work with political principles. And I've had 4 or 5 of them that I've worked with. And it's not easy as a DG when you wake up on Monday. It's usually after the Sunday papers to meet your political principal, because you don't know whether your job is still there. So I do like to acknowledge all the 5 ministers that I've worked with, because the proposals that you bring to us and that we then take to government for funding goes to those ministers. So I don't think we should underestimate the role that they have played in this journey. And then I'd also like to express my sincere thanks to my wife, who's here today. My work sometimes means traveling, attending functions, as you said, SKA meetings, and therefore I'm not at home most of the time. In fact, we always joke and say, I have to go home because if I don't, I will find myself with a dog that is barking at me, my own dog. So I'm eternally grateful to NOMSA and the children who really have been there supporting the work that I've done for all these years. But as I go down back to my seat, I do like to leave you with one or two encouraging words. Because you've been so successful as the scientific community, we have a challenge for you. And the challenge, as you've said, Glenda, in the 10-year innovation plan is the following. Yesterday, Claudina, Zolega, and Dr. Mulder were on a call to say, what is the next big thing in the SHIP program? We've been funding this program for quite some time now. What is the next big thing? 3 months ago, Professor Abdul Karim, I was at Caprisa, and we had a conversation with him around why do we still import the ingredients that we fill and finish in the vaccine. Hepatitis B is the one that we're talking about. Yesterday I was at WITS, you were not there, but with the Vice Chancellor, Professor Lynn Morris, as well as Professor Shabir Mahdi, talking about a vaccine on the respiratory side of vaccine development. So the encouragement that I'd like to leave you with is that we believe as a science community that you can produce these vaccines here. We believe that you can produce medical devices, and we've already crunched the numbers. If we can produce these vaccines that we have targeted from the mRNA platform, VLP platform, inactivated pathogen platform, and others, we will be able to save this country almost half of the 13 billion that we spend on vaccines every 3 years. Now, the question is, do you believe in me that this is possible in South Africa?
Absolutely.
That's the only thing I'd like you to then clap your hands for. Don't clap for me, but clap your hands that this is the journey that we want. In the next 5 years, we should be saving this country approximately half of that 13 billion. And then when that happens, hopefully you'll invite me again to say, we remember the words that you said at the SAMRC 10-year vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Well done.
Very heavy. It's a Quantum mRNA vaccine platform. Thank you. To the committee for doing all the reviews. So before I hand over to you and so I know Mongezi is giving me the BDI. He always tells me to do things and I always forget. And so before we come to a close, and the chairperson, Professor Johnny Mashlangu, comes on to give a vote of thanks, I just want to appreciate everything that the review committee. So we've got 100 applications for these awards, and we have a team. Where's Val?
I saw her.
So, stand up, Val, so we can see you. So Val is a friend to both the NRF and the MRC, and she's the person that reviews all the NRF applications, and when we do these merit awards, she diligently comes with her Excel spreadsheet that she pastes, and it goes to the edge of the table. But I want to acknowledge the committee that sits, chaired by Eunice this time. I want to thank everybody for going through all the applications and for shortlisting this incredibly capable and wonderful scientists. And you can see that science is proliferating in South Africa. So I want to acknowledge the committee. I also want to acknowledge the hard work of the MRC. We're in austerity. Maybe you didn't notice, but we are in austerity, DG. We looked very carefully at our funding for this this lovely event, and I want to thank everybody for doing their best to make this a beautiful occasion. So Mandy and your team, Denise, and the organizing committee, I want to say thank you very much for being here and for this wonderful event. And so, Mongezi, I didn't forget to say thank you. And I want to thank all of you. And this is my last event as the MRC president. And it's just been completely delightful and beautiful. And I look forward to sitting at a table and just marveling at the science that happens at the MRC. So I thank you, MRC. I love the MRC, and it's been a wonderful, it's been the best job of my life. And I've learned so much, and I've grown so much. And I want to thank this community and thank the MRC for having me for 10 years. Goodbye.
Thank you, Glenda. It was wonderful. With that, I'd like to call on Johnny to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Bhavesh, and thanks, Glenda. It's been an amazing evening. And in fact, as a chairman of the board of the MRC, maybe just to put the words into perspective, it is a self-imposed austerity. It is not imposed by the board, by the way. And that's how responsible science is conducted. But for me, it remains an absolute pleasure to thank everyone present this evening to celebrate with us science. And I think all of us, in fact, agree that science does need to be celebrated. As we draw the curtains to yet another inspiring evening celebrating this excellence in medical research, I stand here with a profound sense of gratitude and admiration for the remarkable achievements that we've witnessed this evening. Allow me to extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for the commitment to science, and in fact for the commitment to science in this part of the world, advancing the frontiers of science and medicine in this part of the world. I admire many of you, in fact, who have chosen to conduct science, to advance science, and remain here in South Africa. The SAMRC is very proud of you, and in fact that's the reason we are celebrating you. But perhaps before I proceed, it would be remiss of you if I didn't express my deepest appreciation of our esteemed MRC president, the current MRC president, Professor Glenda Gray. In fact, we will call her Glenda. That's what we normally do. So Glenda, thank you very much for leading the MRC diligently for the last 10 years. Your vision and dedication have been guiding behind the success of many events, in particular these Scientific Merits Awards for the past decade. In fact, it's actually quite an interesting interface because these Merit Awards were started by Slim when he was the president of the MRC. And when you joined in 2014, you continued, in fact, as if it was business as usual. You didn't ask whether we should or should not continue, you just carried on. It was in 2014 when we hosted the very first MRC Merit Awards, the same year that you joined the organization to be the president and the CEO of this organization. It is thanks to your foresight and an unwavering commitment that we've been able to celebrate excellence in medical research and health research year after year, even in the face of the unprecedented pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, Glenda. Let's give a round of applause, please. This is the 10th year we... Yes, go ahead.
Professor Glenda Gray is the first female president and CEO of the South African Medical Research Council. She was the chair of the Research Committee on COVID-19, bringing together scientific evidence and experience to the Minister of Health and the National Coronavirus Command Council.
We know that without research, and especially medical research, we are not able to find medical interventions and solutions to address the challenges our people face in South Africa. So these awards highlight the efforts of medical scientists who have alleviated the burden of disease in South Africa. By rewarding these scientists, we are celebrating meritocracy and are highlighting and showcasing medical science that we do in South Africa.
In her first 5-year tenure at the helm of the SAMRC, the organization experienced 5 consecutive clean audits, transformed grant funding initiatives that significantly improved funding for young scientists, Black African scientists and women, and established key collaborations and partnerships that will significantly progress scientific research.
Once a trainee, always a trainee. I think I get counted. I'm going to be counted until I die as a Fogarty Fellow. So we are branded. Maybe we should get a tattoo on Fogarty Fellows.
It is my hope that, and I'm not putting any pressure on the incoming president of the MRC, but Professor Ntusi, you'll be able to carry forward the legacy of these awards, ensuring that they remain the cornerstone of our commitment to scientific excellence. As we look into the future, let us reaffirm our commitment to supporting and nurturing the next generation of medical researchers, empowering them to push the boundaries of knowledge and to make meaningful difference in the world. And I'll perhaps in closing to express my deepest gratitude once again to every one of you for unwavering support and dedication. And I do hope that together we'll continue to strive for excellence and making a lasting impact on the world of medical research. Congratulations to all of the recipients of the awards this evening. You all deserve to be celebrated in the manner that the MRC has done today. Thank you very much. And I would like to call upon Glenda Gray to receive a small token of appreciation from us, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johnny. And congratulations, Glenda, on the wonderful 2 tenures as SMRC president. So colleagues, we've come to the end of today's events. Thank you for allowing me to be your program director. My thanks to the MRC for asking me to do this. It's been wonderful to see our colleagues come up and get awards, some of whom are very close friends and colleagues. To our awardees, enjoy the light as it shines on you and bounces off you to the people around you. We've heard a few times that we have family members and friends here, and so specifically to those individuals, thank you for sharing your loved ones with us. It's not always an easy thing to do. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of sacrifice. But it's your sacrifice that's allowed these people to come in to different spaces in science and research and create meaningful impact. So please accept our thanks. Colleagues, travel well, be safe. Thank you very much.